know you haven't hit the little song.
Hit it.
Well, it's the first episode, yeah.
Hello and welcome. What is so funny?
You.
Hello and welcome to episode number 24 of Dig a Little Deeper.
Where Doobie learns to hit the... No, he hit it. It just didn't... It just didn't play, but he did click the actual...
It actually was playing. We could hear you guys singing along to it, but then
May I do the introduction to the show? Please.
Can I ask you a question first? Are you going to flash your shirt every time the audience should applaud?
Nope.
Hello and welcome to episode number 24 of Dig a Little Deeper, the show in which we take some aspect of Disney, usually an attraction, and we dig a little deeper. Today, we are doing that for Dinoland USA at Disney's Animal Kingdom at Walt Disney World. We are going to look at all of Dinoland except Dinosaur, which we will save for an entire other show, in Theater in the Wild, which we will save for yet another show. But all the other stuff, all the stuff that's not actually good at Dinoland, we are going to be looking at today.
That's not the way to say it.
What
That's framing it nicely.
This is hard. If there's one thing Doobie hates, it's the hand heart. I despise the hand heart.
I know, that's why I did it.
My name is Doobie Mosley. I am the co-founder of Laughing Place. To my left, the lovely, the talented Rebecca Mosley. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing okay. How about you?
I am doing well. She's also my wife. Down below, from On the Go at MCO, the talented and beautiful Shelley.
Hello, everyone.
Over there, the vice president in charge of all attractions in Polk County is Jeremiah.
Greetings and salutations.
And down there, the man who has taken his career from hourly at Disney's Animal Kingdom's Dinoland to CEO of Laughing Place, a lateral move at best, is Benjamin Breitbart.
I was going to say, that's not the world's greatest career progression. There's other stuff that happened in between there that just makes this fall seem much steeper.
So we are going to be talking about Dinoland today, but just a quick reminder, we are live right now. That means if you would like to participate, if you want to say, hey, crew, or maybe Kidder, you want to throw some fun facts in there, there's one. Dinoland opened in 1998. Just use those comments. We will do our best to be a part of this. Gio, is this a joke just because I started last night's show completely muted for a while?
Thank you.
All right, so let's get started on Dinoland USA, which opened on April 22nd, 1998, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the day that Animal Kingdom itself opened.
Very nicely done.
Which, if you're not mistaken, is Earth Day.
I'm not mistaken.
That's why they changed the opening date.
Even though it opened, what do you mean change the opening date?
It was originally going to be May 1st.
Was actually,
realized, it's like 8 days. Like, might as well go for the marketing.
So on May 1st, is that when they did the ribbon cutting 8 days later? Anybody with me? Anybody?
Whoa. That's not ribbon.
Good night, folks.
Okay, I'm glad everyone's with me. But actually, the origins of Dinoland go back to 1947 when it was a small highway town where an amateur fossil hunter found some dinosaur bones way back in 1947.
You could say they were digging.
They were digging, yes, like all good Disney attractions.
They were digging in Dinoland.
Mm-hmm.
Working in the hot sun.
They founded the Dino Institute and then eventually opened it to the public. And later on, they invited Chester and Hester to, or no, they didn't invite. They just kind of moved their way in. But we'll get to that. So Dinoland in general, what we're talking about basically is Dinosaur, which we're not discussing today, on one end, Theater in the Wild on the other end, which Gideon argues is only in Dinoland because that's what it says on the map. But is that not actually in Dinoland in any way, shape, or form? Yes.
There is a backstory as to why the theater in the wild is there. It is shoehorned into the backstory. But so Dinoland, I mean, there's this whole story about the land, right? Like, unlike Adventureland, there's a whole like history that goes from basically 1947 to the 80s to today. And so they wanted everything to have a reason to be there. And then they had theater in the wild. And they're like, a group of performers was traveling through, fell in love with Diggs County, and decided to set up shop and apparently license Jungle Book and Tarzan.
That is a weak backstory.
That's one of the
digging.
weakest backstories in the history of Disney, but it was part of the a test when you got checked out as a new cast member at Dinoland.
So Dinoland, that will be discussed.
And I remember when my manager was like going through it, and he's like, "Okay, this one's a stretch. This is the story."
Are you done?
I am.
May I speak?
Yes, you may.
Perhaps you don't know how things work here.
I don't.
Jimmy
I've never
talks
seen
a
this show.
lot, and then we eventually get to talk to him.
No, it's just that we can't all talk at once. If every time I start, okay. So
Excuse me.
we're going to be talking about. So what we will be talking about is kind of the land as a whole, the dig, the boneyard, which is the boneyard playground, Crustaceous Trail, Primeval Whirl, which of course is a particular favorite of Benji's, I know, and Triceratops Spin, the games, Dinosaur Jubilee going way back, Lucky, the Velociraptor, all that kind of stuff. Again, no dinosaur, Restaurantosaurus, no dinosaur, no theater in the wild. So how about just some overall impressions of this land? So when Animal Kingdom opened, of course, it had Africa. Did it have Asia on opening day? I can't even remember. No, so it had Africa, it had the entrance, it had Camp Mini Mickey. Don't even bother, Benji. And then it had Dinoland. So let's talk about how we feel about Dinoland overall. Shelley.
Yes.
That was a
I like Dinoland for what it is. I know when Zoe was little, we spent a lot of time there. Let there be light. We spent a lot of time there when she was little. She really liked Triceratops Band, like a lot. So we spent a lot of time there and in the boneyard. So yeah, I mean, we had a good time there. I like Chester and Hester's, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, I feel like there's backstory and whatever, but that to me is the area of the park that just
You asked.
it is.
Done. Ta-da! Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Jeremiah?
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if we're going to me next or.
Yeah, you can
Benji.
go next, Jeremiah. What do you think of Dinoland? What do you remember of it early
Well, I have
on?
a visual aid. Wait, did
Go,
somebody just
go for it. Take mine away. Take mine away. You're in control.
I control the vertical and the horizontal.
Yes, you are the outer limit.
So I was lucky enough to go in October of '98, and that is me digging in Dinoland.
I was going to ask, are those your pasty white lips?
Were you 4?
Aw.
Yes, I felt like it.
He was 32.
Aw.
No, I wasn't. I enjoy Dinoland. Like, even when I went there, without talking about the theater or Countdown to Extinction, the dig site was fun. I love Dinosaur Jubilee, even though I have no pictures of it at all. The shop was really one of those places in Disney that you walked into and went, wow, they actually themed a shop more than they themed an entire land. But when it first opened, I enjoyed it. When Dinorama came along, it was just something to add to it. I'm not one of the Dinorama haters, but we'll get into that later on.
And how about you, Benji? I know you have a unique perspective, seeing it from both the guest perspective and the professional cast member perspective.
Professional. I mean, I think it was ambitious what they were trying to do. It's the only land, I think, that had a coherent story to that extent back then, from Dinosaur, Restaurantosaurus, even Chester and Hester's, and then adding in Dinorama. There was, if you looked at the bulletin boards and the shops and around the land, you could really kind of paste together the complete history of this land, which is like now with Galaxy's Edge is sort of commonplace, but back then it was unique. Dinorama specifically, I think it's important to realize why it was built and why it was built the way it was. It was shortly after 9/11, and the park needed more rides. At that point, the only like ride through, so you had Dinosaur, Cali, KSR, safaris, and that was it. And so, guests were feeling like they weren't getting their full value for the day there. Well, I guess if you count Wildlife Express, but you really shouldn't. And
there and back. So,
well, and so they needed something affordable. They needed something that wasn't going to expand the park in a way that prevented their more ambitious plans, which at that point included something where Pandora was now, where there was Beastly Kingdom or what have you, and then where Expedition Everest ended up. So it was a way to make something affordable while adding capacity, a ride-through capacity. And they tried their best. Unfortunately, what they built was garbage. And I don't mean that like in terms of like, I know people want to talk about it being cheap and all that, but it wasn't even just that. Like, it's not just that they built a Dumbo ripoff and a Mad Mouse. It was just that they were done poorly. The Triceratops on top of Triceratops Spin, that's supposed to be the plunger, I don't think ever worked, which kind of was the whole point of the Triceratops.
I never got that.
Neither did I.
So I just want to, Jeremiah, would it be accurate to say that were it not for Dinoland USA, we might never have ever gotten Harry Potter and Galaxy's Edge?
I could see that because it really was one of the first ones. And I also think that definitely kind of falls under the Joe. I mean, we can't talk about anything Animal Kingdom without Joe Rohde and his...
Joe Guajardo?
Well, yes. Can't talk about anything without Joe Guajardo. Dino USA was the set story. Like, it was the only thing that really we kind of walked into, and like Benji was saying, there was a story from the time you walked in, and it tied in with Dinosaur Jubilee in 98 and 99 with the excavation and going, exploration, excavation. Benji, do you know anything about the Excavator Coaster and that backstory? I mean, if we go before the park opened?
I know a little bit about it, but it falls into the it was a spacing issue, I think, in the end.
Presented by McDonald's, by the way, which should not go without saying until 2009, which is kind of exciting.
Would you remember the tagline was the friendliest fossils in America?
No,
I would not have either. I stumbled on this today, and I'm like, I'm gonna remember that now. I like that one. The friendliest fossils in America.
You have 3 billion on Earth, which is like a tribute to the billions and billions served.
That's kind of creepy.
I remember once McDonald's had a convention in Orlando, so they gave everyone like McDonald's pins to wear on their costumes for like 3 days, and I thought that was so cool. And then I realized it's just a big M. But.
I like, but that 3 billion unearthed, it feels like it should be the set of like a zombie. Like they should have like The Walking Dead or something. They should have had an event like that.
So one of the things Animal King, Dinoland specifically is known for is its little in-jokes, not really, but jokes and puns. So maybe our history expert here, Jeremiah, can talk about this guy.
The Olden Gate Bridge.
That's funny.
Get it? It's
That's
like the
funny.
Golden Gate Bridge, but it's the Olden Gate Bridge.
That's really clever.
It looks during Christmas, by the way.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, that's a whole other topic. Yeah, here's the rundown of the whole Olden Gate Bridge. One of the interesting things about this is where the original can now be seen, the Field Museum in Chicago, which I don't think Dinoland or Disney in general and the Field Museum have a real connection other than Dinoland USA, because these bones, they were part of the excavation team that was part of Dinosaur Jubilee and the Fossil Prep Lab. And of course, Dino Sue, which the reason Dino Sue came about is, well, the reason there's a replica of Dino Sue and not the original is because the Field Museum outbid Disney for the fossils originally.
So as you enter Dino Land, the first thing you come through, as you go under there, the first thing you come through to is the dig site. Is that what it's called, the dig site? No, the Boneyard Playground. Dig site is a part of the Boneyard Playground, correct?
Yep.
So I like to talk about Redwood Creek Challenge Trail at Disney California Adventure and how I think that is by far the best play site Disney has built. It's really, really cool. I think it's held up well over the past 20 years. But second place would definitely be this place. Maybe even first, because of the slides are just amazing in this place. So let's take a look. I know none of us are young enough to play here, and yet we've all done it. We've seen Jeremiah's picture when he did it. So any thoughts on this area? You have a youngster, a former youngster, Shelley. How about you spend much time here?
We spent a lot of time here, much like that picture of Gideon. In that area, we had sand everywhere all the time because that was where she wanted to run to and just play and play and play. And she'd move stuff. She'd go on the slides and run around a little bit, but she just loved like moving around the sand, like helping other kids unearth things. I mean, that's the thing about Dino Land is that there's something for everybody. And it's so on so many different levels, but this area is just magic for parents.
I would like to point out that this is where Disney learned that playground should only have one entrance and exit, because originally there was an exit at the dig site.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could go over the Olden Gate Bridge and then exit out the dig site. And so parents would stay at the front and get worried.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is this place was huge. It is hard. We have spent a long time trying to find him. We knew he couldn't get out, but we didn't know where in the world he was.
Yeah, because he would just wander. But one of the things I was going to say was that the dig site itself was it wasn't fine particle sand. It was like this really finely ground weathered
pebbles. Right.
They were like tiny little pebbles, like riverbed pebbles. And so it was much, much easier as a parent to deal with the after effects of the digging than it would be if it had been the sand, because like a beach sand, because you're just done. There's like nothing. But with this, you could easily shake it out, and you weren't like kind of finding it throughout the rest of the day.
Yeah, it was sand.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other, yes, you would. And then the other element of the dig site that was both delightful for the older kids and horrifying for the younger ones was that there would be these roars these like dinosaur noises that would emanate from caves or little like areas you could explore. And if you weren't aware of it as a parent, you could unknowingly terrify your kid. Oh, look, Triceratops.
I was still sharing.
The fun thing was before we would open, we'd have to check like to make sure all the trigger points would activate the sound. And then there was always the ones that you knew just wouldn't work. And so you would just go X. But we would check to make sure, like there were the paw prints too, where you step on the paw print and it would roar. I mean, it's still there. I don't know why I said there used to be.
Well, you're not there. It might as well not exist.
And then the other area I liked was there was this little like waterfall kind of element. It was a really thin layer of water that would just kind of trickle along the wall. And so the kids could kind of put their hands on it and get like a bit wet, but it wasn't like an enormous, soak zone in the same way. And that was tended to be over towards the little kid slides. That was another thing that's nice as a parent is when you have zones that are clearly kind of like, this is for the super tinies, and this is for the more mobile, and then this is for the big kids. It's nice because then as a parent, you're kind of more aware of what your kid's up against, and you can also, and then also you don't have to be as concerned either, right? Because you can just let your big kid go be a big kid. If somebody had a little kid, well, there's an area for the little kids. You don't have to, be kind of as cautious about it. So that was also.
My favorite zone?
What?
Throw zone.
I loved the music over by the dig site.
You just totally ignore me.
The boneyard was also like the one place that got impacted by Hurricane Charlie. It had to close to resurface the ground.
I believe they had to resurface the ground when this guy landed as well.
Those slides are not really meant for the big kids.
No.
Those slides are funny because they're very tall, but they're not steep, so they're actually very slow. They're not the most, from what I can see, not the most thrilling slide in the world. So across from Dino Land, kind of in the middle of the entry, because while Animal Kingdom is not
Restaurantosaurus.
No, I don't.
Oh well.
Well, Dino Land is not a zoo or Animal Kingdom. It does have animals, and so I didn't even realize this today when I did my copious research on this. But they put animals on display in Dino Land who have evolutionary links back to the age of the dinosaurs, including red-legged ceramaz, which I'm sure I'm pronouncing wrong, the abdim stork, the Asian brown tortoise, and of course, the great American crocodile. So,
Yeah, that fence didn't used to be there.
what?
That metal fence didn't used to be there.
Meaning,
There, like it was like you still were distant, but there wasn't that big metal fence. They added that.
it seems like a little lack of anticipation
Do you
there.
know? Do you know what they do with him during a hurricane? Does he just hang out there, or do they have to move? I mean, because he seems kind of open to stuff. I was just curious. It was just kind of one of those things.
I don't know. He was so low maintenance.
Right?
He didn't move much. He was
Just
just
some
there.
chicken. Bake the
Like,
chicken.
it wasn't, and there wasn't a lot of animals in Dino Land by the time I got there because they kept sort of carving into the Cretaceous Trail and making it smaller and smaller. Although there was talk at one point of making the Cretaceous Trail like an aviary.
Oh wow.
But that never panned out.
No, aviary is birds, honey.
I'm pretty sure aviary is bees.
No.
Pretty sure.
No.
Did you work there during Dinosaur Jubilee, Benji?
I did not.
Can you believe this was Disney?
Yes, I can.
Did this survive the hurricane?
No,
This
this
is-
was
This
a
was
thing.
here from India.
Yeah.
So this is an actual tent, right?
Yeah.
The Dinosaur Jubilee. And kind of put the edutainment back into Animal Kingdom that they removed from Epcot, I think was the purpose of this, so they could keep their balance throughout Walt Disney World. Kind of like when they build up something, they then go purchase some swampland someplace else. So did you visit this, Jeremiah?
I did. I loved it because I'm just a total dinosaur nerd. Wait, Benji has a comment. So
I mean, look at these stanchions. They went to the movie theater and they're like, "Hey, can we borrow some stanchions?"
well, you have to remember,
Who looks at a scene and immediately goes to operation stuff. What are the stanchions like? What are the walkways like?
this was 98, 99 when dinosaurs, the park itself was empty. No matter what anybody says, the park stayed empty for many years. But it had actual fossils in there. And then the Dino Prep Lab, which was off to the side, you could watch them doing the preparation for Dino Zoo.
This Stegosaurus Triceratops was backstage for at least a decade.
Is it not an actual fossil?
No, it's a casting of a fossil.
These are usually
Yeah.
cast.
Well, no, that is a casting, but I believe the one in front of it is an actual fossil. They did have actual fossils there, including Gary, the most complete T-Rex, was there before Dino Zoo. Again, they worked with the Field Museum and I believe one of the other museums and had this stuff on display. And then 99 rolled around and then they decided, hey, we need a kid attraction. So they built Dino Land. Do you have that map, Doobie, if we could put that up?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, we'll pull it up. That one.
Yeah, but I like to show pictures of Jeremiah. All right, here we go.
Wearing an Epcot shirt in Dino. So
For shame.
I know.
So what's this, Jeremiah?
So this is actually still on display when you walk in one of the plastic glass displays of the students that are there for all the dinosaur prep that still live in Restaurantosaurus. Anyway, this is what the land actually looked like when it first opened. You can see it still says Countdown to Extinction, which is dinosaur, which we're not talking about. And then Chester and Hester's, the store. And if you look where Dinosaur Jubilee and the Fossil Prep Lab is, that is right where Dinorama is. And then the Boneyard, and that was where they had the giant tent was the Dinosaur Jubilee, and the Fossil Prep Lab you would walk by, and it was more. I think that was more of a not a permanent structure, but a more built structure than the tent, where you could watch paleontologists actually working on or fixing the fossils.
And I think operationally, it's important to point out that there was no bridge connecting Asia at this point. So it's like the Dinosaur Jubilee and Fossil Lab was a dead end, basically, unless you were going to see whatever show was happening, Jungle Book or Tarzan. And so that whole section never got that busy because there's no one coming. Like, people would go to CTX and then kind of leave.
Okay, so the next place I'd like to visit is, I believe it is called Crustacean Trail. Is that correct?
Nope, Cretaceous Trail.
It's not where you see Sebastian the crab.
Are you sure, Mon?
Yep, I'm pretty sure. No Shaggy over there.
So I don't know. Did anyone even work this area? Did this need a cast member, Benji?
No, this was just, I mean, as I said, it kept getting smaller and smaller. I mean, sometimes I'd put characters here and then be an entertainment person. But no, in fact, like, we all couldn't quite understand why it was considered an attraction. I mean, it's like making the Parker Bridge an attraction over at Magic Kingdom. It just doesn't make sense.
I'd like to point out that this picture is from 2001, and this beautiful dinosaur is still there.
Still there?
Yeah, I just took a picture with a cupcake and it recently.
Yeah, I would have, if you had asked me, is Crustaceous Trail still there? I would have said, no, that's been gone for years.
Even better, it was Christmas time, so it was wearing a neck scarf.
That doesn't seem very realistic.
Now that is where Daisy Duck meets.
Yes.
Well, when things are happening.
The Cretaceous Trail now is actually getting some like attention because of the Dino, or at least it was because of the Dino Bash. Like, they put characters there and whatever.
Hey, C. Bacon, Gideon answered your question, but I was going to let you know, this is our show called Dig a Little Deeper, where we take a Disney attraction and we just dig a little deeper. We share some of our favorite memories, kind of look at its history a bit. And today our focus is the Dino Land area of Animal Kingdom, but not the largest attractions there. So we're focusing on kind of the little things, the dig area, the Primeval Whirl, we're going to get around to the games and the theater. And right now, Doobie's about to share a picture from back before. Believe it or not, Dinoland did not open with this, which I forgot.
When were Chester and Hester officially at it? When did they come to this place?
Well, Chester and Hester was there at the opening with the store, but the
expansion?
Yeah, Dinorama didn't come until a few years later. So
I have to admit, I'd forgotten. It wasn't until we were kind of pulling up some images, and I found this of the building, the enormous smiling dinosaur.
The Cementosaurus?
Yeah, I was going to say, is it really called the Cementosaurus, or is that just something that I'm off the top?
We call it Cementi, but yeah, Cementosaurus. Because it opened in 2002.
Yeah. And so these were some images that we had from.
I like how they put a flag on his head, like they topped him off, like.
Yeah.
And, this is what he became.
He's changed colors since then. He's now green.
Yeah.
Yes.
When did they take the sunglasses off?
No, that would be the one. That's Dinosaur Jack.
And if you look all the way past these bushes, you'll see the break room.
So let's see. What do you want to show here?
And around this time is also when Triceratops.
The plunger's up. I don't think I've even noticed that it was ever up.
I never knew that was the concept of Triceratops Spin.
Yeah. Also, the meteors used to go around in a circle, like it spun around. I don't think it does that anymore either.
So Triceratops Band, which opened in November of 2001, not the most complicated attraction in the world. So maybe Benji could just tell us a fun story about it.
Triceratops Spin?
Yeah, tell us a fun story about Triceratops Band if you can.
Well, I still hear the music in my head at night. I mean, what's interesting about this, much like Magic Carpets of Aladdin, which was around the same time, it has a front seat and a back seat. And so they would want you to fill both seats, but only the front seat would control the up and down. So everybody wanted the front seat. Nobody wanted to sit in the back seat. And so luckily, the attraction was not all that popular. So you could yeah, I mean, it was what was nice about it was it was part of the same rotation as Dinorama, and this one actually stayed operational. So you could go. It was kind of like a little break, but it was always fun, especially during like the peak time, to try and just loop it as fast as you can, just like any spinner. Same thing at Dumbo. You want to dispatch it within 90 seconds, and so it was sort of like a challenge because it's just you and one other cast member. So it was a lot more fun to work than Primeval Whirl.
In attempts to make that happen, did you just like shove children as you ran by? And
No.
Yep, that looks filthy.
No, safety first. Always safety first.
The relatively new children couldn't sit on the open side rule was a lot for people to get. That was like your number one hang up, was they'd want to have the kid on the outside, which seems kind of silly looking at it with a 2021 lens. But back in 2002, people didn't think so much about it.
Thanks, Roger Rabbit.
All right, we're not going down that road. All right, we have Triceratops Band, we have Dumbo, we have Aladdin. Am I missing any?
At Walt Disney World?
Yes.
Astrojets? Or
No, I'm not counting those. Rank them. Jeremiah.
Magic Carpet, Triceratops Spin, original Dumbo.
Wow.
Benji.
How about you?
I would say, well, I mean, taking sentimentality out of it, I would go Carpets, Dumbo, Triceratops Band. Do you have a picture of the actual ride vehicle, the actual Triceratops?
While I look for that, you go, Shelley.
I agree with Benji. I like that with that ranking. She can make the
Carpets, Dumbo.
Yeah.
But you can do that with Triceratops Spin. You can make the butt wiggle up and down.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not the same though.
I like the views better from Dumbo. So it's like Dumbo and then Carpets and then Triceratops Spin, because like being way up high and seeing the castle from over there and then overlooking the railroad and the speedway and now kind of catching glimpses of Snow White train that I can never remember the name of.
You guys are all wrong.
This is a little wonky, but this was one of the first spinners to home base. So the vehicles would stop wherever it started, because the idea was if you had a guest with disabilities, you could put them by the exit and get in and out fairly quickly. So you see these stars on the side here that stick out? Those exist because when they stopped, there was too much of a gap between the vehicle and the ledge. So they put that there so you couldn't like get your foot stuck in between the vehicle and the lip of the thing. It also was supposed to have water.
Was it added later?
What's that?
Was it added later or was it always there?
I think it was added, not always there, but before it opened, kind of thing. Like it wasn't originally.
Like the fence around Casey Jr.
Right. It also, if you look at the base, which we probably don't have a picture of, it was definitely supposed to have a water feature. Like and that didn't come either.
Bobby. Just like the Astrojets in Disneyland. Yeah.
We used to hear similar rumors because of the way the base is there, that there was similar expectations.
That's how Waterboy got his nickname.
But wait, what about this view, Rebecca? I mean, I know that you were talking about the train, but look how nice this view is of the Cementosaurus. I mean, come on. He's just staring at your soul.
Where do you think they put the speakers for their Triceratops Spin?
Oh.
He looks like a sock puppet.
He does look like a sock puppet.
Oh, Gideon is sharing a Triceratops Spin story. When we were at the park, Dinosaur went down, and so they had nothing to do, and they didn't want to go too far away because he wanted to make sure he could get in as many dinosaur rides as he could. And he says they rode Triceratops Spin to kill time, but the wait was so short, even in the COVID and everything, that he was able to ride twice. He got to ride once in the front and once in the back. So there you go. But I agree with Jeffrey that the yellow dinosaur, the Smithtosaurus, needs some sunglasses.
I like Aladdin because the people in front and back both get something to do. That makes it a superior spinner.
They don't on Triceratops Spin. I thought
No, they do. It just does the tilt.
Yeah, it's the same.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I think I've ridden Triceratops one time.
I think you've only ridden it one time as well.
I know you've ridden it once with that French kid.
Yeah, maybe twice. All right. So next up, shortly after Triceratops Band opened, less than a year later, in fact, just a few months later, the would you call it the only e-ticket other than Dinosaur in the history of this area opened, and that would be one of the premier roller coasters in all of Walt Disney World.
The Excavator.
No.
The premier coasters in all of Walt Disney World.
Did you try?
Primeval Whirl.
I got a lot to say.
It's our Festivus show here, and you people are going to hear about it.
This is what I remember. I talked earlier about how Hurricane Charlie hit the dig site, the boneyard.
Yes.
This is what we wanted it to hit. We actually put a target on it and wrote Charlie with arrows.
Jeez.
And I remember one day telling my manager, like, wow, that attraction's a piece of garbage. And he goes, no, it's two pieces of garbage tied together with one feeling. I remember one year, I was on what we called the evac. So there was two sides that ran independently. A side, which was towards the theater, and B side, which was towards the bathroom. That's how you'd remember B side bathroom. And we had a
There wasn't like a P and an S side, so you could.
They had a crew that was just there to evacuate whatever side went down. So we would just go. That was our shift. And I remember it got frustrating because we didn't have enough time for breaks because we would just keep evacuating. There was one guest I evacuated off that ride 4 times in one day.
Oh wow!
Whoa!
All right. Before we get too far into killing this attraction, Chris Porter says, "I wish this ride still worked the way it did when it opened. Well, it doesn't work at all right now. But how much did it change after opening?"
It definitely changed the way they dispatch. So it used to be a non-dispatched attraction, which meant it would go, and then, you kind of loaded it. It was kind of like an Omni Mover, except without the moving walkway. You would get in, the vehicles would kind of slowly move, and you'd jump in, and then it would go. And if we wanted to stop it, you'd have to manually hit the inhibit, and then it would go into a jog area and then launch itself. But they eventually, I think, created it because that's a terrible idea. They eventually went to a dispatched version. And the idea was the vehicle was locked as you went up the lift hill, and then the asteroid would hit you, and then you'd start spinning. You would unlock and then hopefully lock itself back when it got back to load, which sometimes happened. So originally, basically everything you see in this picture was supposed to spin. The pteranodons over the asteroid, the clock handles. There's even like a whole clock missing in this picture. The black and white sort of hypnosis thing. And the story I heard, I don't know if this is true, but this is what they told us at work, was they put in indoor motors instead of outdoor motors. So they weren't resistant to humidity. And so,
is that a factor in Florida?
So that's why, it's funny. We had a show on and off switch, and it was really hard to tell if you hit the on switch because so much of it didn't work. You had to find the one element that was actually moving. But
so for those that don't know, can you tell us the relationship between this and the train in Disneyland, and also this and the dinosaur attraction.
Well, so this is Chester and Hester's. I'm sorry, Primeval Whirl Dinorama. And if you go on the train at Disneyland, you go to the Primeval World Diorama. So it's a play.
Very cute.
And what this was supposed to be was this was the equivalent of the Fun Spot. So if you went down to Diggs County, but you didn't want to pay to go on, which when we talk about dinosaur, I have a lot to say about that, right? Too. But when you go on, you didn't want to pay to do the real experience. This was the cheap version because it's supposed to send you back in time to where the asteroid hits, without having to spend the outrageous fun amount of money Dr. Helen Marsh was asking for you over at the Dino Institute.
Well, that's proprietary. Benji, what road did we take to get to Diggs County?
Route 428.
Yeah.
No.
498.
Oh, sorry. 498.
Why?
Because April.
Oh, I get it. I never noticed
It's
that.
kind of like how at Test Track they had Interstate 97 because they thought it was going to open in 1997.
Oh, that's so funny. I too like the hitchhiking ghost, Geo, and it made me realize that there was a similarity between the end of Dinosaur, the thrill ride, and the end of Haunted Mansion, and that you would end up with a hitchhiking. You know how at the end of the ride you'd have a hitchhiking ghost. A dinosaur, you ended up with a hitchhiking Aladar. So it's kind of cute.
I will be fair that despite it was fun physically, especially if you got sort of an imbalanced car where it's heavy on one side. It could be a lot of fun if you didn't work there and weren't afraid.
Yeah, I loved to ride this ride. It was just a fun ride. It spun like crazy when I was on it, and it was fun. And it was great to ride it, enjoy it, and then hear how much it drove you crazy.
This area of Animal Kingdom was the host of a pin trading event one evening. It was one of those events where you would pay, you would go after hours. They had select attractions open. You would get a couple of pins, and then there would be additional pins to purchase. But they also had characters, and I will never forget my friend Anita and her brother were about to board Primeval Whirl, and Goofy joined them, and they laughed. I mean, the hysteria of the three of them. Primeval Whirl. Yeah, it was a very, very great memories of that evening.
Speaking of characters, they did have walkarounds in Dinorama. There was Carniosaurus, and Coniosaurus.
We have pictures of them.
Yes, we do, and they're coming up.
But I'm not sure which. We have several different walk-around dinosaurs, so you can let us know if
those are mine.
Yeah. So Carney is the boy one, the one without the lipstick.
I mean, we have a second set of male and female dinosaurs that walked around Dinoland.
Okay, these are the ones I remember. I mean,
yeah, that's the ones I remember too.
And these were the inflatable ones, and you had to be very careful because if the motor broke, the whole thing would fall on top of the cast member. So you have to quickly open them, and it's the only time I've ever gotten kissed by another cast member was because the cast member felt I saved their life.
But see, then in taking these and looking at our pictures, I found these, and I didn't remember these.
No idea.
Right?
Wait, are we sure these aren't guests?
No, those were the precursors. So
that's when they realized
2006. If that helps, 2006.
Yeah, I've heard stories that at one point these guys were Chester and Hester, and I don't know where that story ever came from because Chester and Hester are humans, and there are actually pictures of them in the Restaurantosaurus and the Chester and Hester shop. But
they do the safety announcements on T-Spin and Primeval. Please stand up before exiting. Bye bye.
Okay, so let's see. I believe Chris says these aren't better. And Geo says those are almost as frightening.
Different levels, different kinds of frightening, really.
They did have, Jeremiah, this was long after I left, but didn't they do a test of some other dinosaur thing after Lucky?
Well, yes, they did.
Yes,
Right.
they did.
Real quick though, take a quick look at this, guys. Get a good look at this, and then a good look at this. Popcorn or churro? What's the better walk around?
Churro.
So inflatable.
Yeah, the inflatable one.
Jeremiah just said a churro.
And by the way, for those
Can I point out one detail on Connie? Connie. You see her ring she's wearing?
yes,
How do you
It
miss
was a
that?
big ring.
and for those of you
Terrible.
And she has her nails.
on laughingplace.com, we force people to choose yay or nay by demanding popcorn or churro. So that's our
What's
shtick
the
around
origin
here.
of that?
I suspect it started with the debate of popcorn or because it used to be one of those discussion board debates on Laughing Place all the
Yes.
time. Popcorn or churro, and there was like the team popcorn, team churro. And so we made that into our yay or nay.
I feel like we should always make sure when we have a guest we get their answer. So Benji, popcorn or churro?
Carney and Connie.
No. Popcorn or churro?
like literally.
Churro. Okay, like any normal person.
See, and then I would always come in with turkey leg.
Turkey leg, of course. What about you, Jeremiah? Popcorn or churro?
I just answered that. Churro. But
Churro.
there's me with the
Oh,
Aww.
You
little
look
Jeremiah.
really.
Little Jeremiah.
Which one?
You knew me at this time.
this was. Sorry, I'm trying to remember the date of this as I'm. This was 05.
Yeah, you did know me.
Wow, you guys knew each other by then? Cool. And then in 2000, right around
Speaking of
this
05,
time,
but Shelly, popcorn or churro?
Churro.
Thank you. Lucky the dinosaur is here. Who remembers Lucky?
I work lucky. This is early. It's really early.
yes.
So you can tell because this is a Hester
Mm-hmm.
and
Wait. I thought that was Hester.
so that's Lucky on the left. Hester's the one that
Big red wig.
yeah, you can tell it's early because there's about 5 people watching the show and name tags on in the background.
I think this
And-
may have been the
Opening day.
very
Yeah.
beginning
Yeah.
expectations.
So when they started with Lucky, they did like a show, and he'd come out and he would like put on someone's hat and then sign his autograph and go. And then they moved it to be more of a roving, like he would just walk around, more like a meet and greet and a little bit more organic. Because as a show, it just the interactivity element didn't really make any sense because you're just like that's just part of the show as opposed to being more impromptu.
Was this the? I didn't see him in any of the parks, but was it here that they had the wizard with him, or was that at DCA?
That was at DCA.
Okay.
Here it went from a Chester and Hester to a Dino Institute personnel person.
So we saw Lucky back before he was even in a park. They like showed him at some museum in LA or something.
Yeah, he made his debut at the Natural History Museum in LA.
And this was a big R&D project. Who can quickly tell us why Lucky the dinosaur is a special thing? Why it's not just any other character appearance? Jeremiah, please.
Because this was one of the first living character initiatives, and it was an autonomous animatronic. And there would be some guy, usually with a giant side pack, that he'd have his hand in the entire time controlling it. And the motor and everything to get Lucky moving was actually in the cart behind him.
Also in the cart behind him was a big tent in case something went wrong. They would open up and put this big tent over him.
Mhm. Yeah.
Did we? Is that the one we looked at earlier?
No, not that big.
The other thing, so this was part of the Happy Celebration on Earth, where every park got a gift, right? So Magic Kingdom got Cinderella from Tokyo Disneyland.
Movie prize.
Epcot got Soarin' from Disney California Adventure. Hollywood Studios got Light Motors Action from Walt Disney Studios in Paris. And Disney's Animal Kingdom got Lucky from Imagineering. Right.
Unlike every other attraction in the park, right?
Right. So we can see who went. I think obviously everyone did better than Magic Kingdom, but
Lucky was very, very impressive to see in person. And so he went to Hong Kong and now he's totally retired, right?
yeah, I believe so.
The last time
Much
I
like
saw him,
Busan.
What?
go on, Benji.
Well, this was back. We talked about this before. How that living character initiative kind of just died on the vine. And a lot, and it was Bruce Vaughn's real big push. And then when he left, and they went away. They went more from living characters to immersive worlds. Is kind of where the buzzword went. So.
Another living characters program for those who may have seen it is the Muppets Mobile Lab.
Yes.
So if you've seen that around, you've seen living characters. Was that Miko thing? Was that a living characters?
Yeah.
That was even the first one, wasn't it?
Stitcher's Picture Phone, Turtle Talk with Crush. That was all part of that. Even the puppet faced articulated, Mickey Mouse heads and all that.
Mm-hmm. And it all started with Push.
No. Completely different thing.
When you think about it,
Sir, he was a living character.
everything.
Yeah, he was developed by Disney.
Yeah, I know. But that's for me. I just feel like it. Oh,
Is that a picture of the tent? Do you have the tent?
No, this is the original when he was at that museum when we talked about.
yeah. The first time I
With
met
the
him.
lizard.
Yeah.
Is Monsters Inc. considered living characters? Chris is saying.
Yes.
So characters still live. What about not Squirt, but his dad?
Crush.
Crush. Yeah.
Crush.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
With a PS2 controller, you can do Crush. Yes.
based on the success of Lucky, they decided to take animatronics to the next level and introduce V the Velociraptor
Oh, I
Nope.
forgot about
Nope.
in
Velociraptor.
2013. What do you know?
Nope.
Pink? What do you know, Pink Jeremiah?
Do you have another view of Lucky
Yes.
V?
Sure, I do. Look at the realism.
Can you
I just
So,
remember Jeremiah and I
wait.
looking at each other going, what?
Wait, what year was this? What year was this, Doobie?
This was 2014.
This was like what, a year into my time with not even a year. This is
Not
one of
even.
the first projects that for Laughing Place that Benji is like, you need to go get this. This is going to be amazing.
I did not say that.
In fairness, dinosaur videos have done wonders for Laughing Place. So.
So
Real or fake? Jeremiah.
Kelly and I were there and chasing
Wait a second. I don't know if there's any set of costume that would make that convincing.
We have seen this at Jurassic Quest numerous times. It looks
Sorry to interrupt you,
same
Jeremiah.
effect.
Can you go back to the other picture?
The other V? The
Yeah.
first?
I mean, just on a related note, I noticed that all the spinning objects on Primeval Whirl are in the same position as any other pictures we've seen.
Really? I went back just so you could say that?
It was really cool when it wasn't.
Yeah.
I
So-
do admit, I missed that.
So V the Velociraptor, who I want to say was only out for maybe once.
I don't think you're wrong.
So
Animatronics are tough to keep running.
there was the head, maybe. I think that person. I'm sorry. There's a person in there. He can't see the legs.
Spoiler.
Way to ruin the magic.
Had a hand up in the face.
And the other one was like on this bar.
No, this was one of the worst things I think I've ever experienced, and to this day I still have nightmares about chasing this stupid thing. And I don't say that about a lot of Disney things. That was one of the dumbest things I've ever had to go chase.
I remember messaging you and being like, "Why is V giving birth?"
Yes. and this wasn't like, by this time Islands of Adventure had already had their Triceratops encounter with a full animatronic Triceratops, and they had done some of the tests with the Velociraptor encounter type thing, but nothing that detailed. So I think Shelly and I both really went into it going, okay, this should be somewhat interesting.
Yeah.
Then V comes out, and we just sat there like, and there were people chasing after it like us, and I think mostly just to get pictures of just how bad it was.
I think their fatal flaw was actually announcing it. Like they should have just tested it and then if someone caught it, they caught it. But to make it as like, come to Animal Kingdom to see this piece of garbage.
I really I don't think it lasted more than maybe
That
2
week.
weeks at the most.
Yeah, I don't think it lasted very long. I mean, the thing was, I think you're totally right, Benji. If they would have been like surprise and delight, like there's something in Dinorama, but like it was a lot.
Here as a topic than it is than it did as an entertainment source.
Okay, well, let's move on to something that
we all love.
People like a little bit more than the Velociraptor, which I still contend is not getting his due. Well, I forgot she gave birth. That should have been obvious.
Also, I know we're not talking about dinosaur, but it was very, very difficult where you see what a Velociraptor looks like because they mock Universal in Dinosaur with their little Velociraptor, which is a correct size, to what was like a 7.5 foot tall Velociraptor walking with somebody like trying not to fall.
Sorry, we're trying to find a picture of Restaurantosaurus.
The fishing rod.
Yeah.
So let's move on to Restaurantosaurus here.
I love Restaurantosaurus.
This was initially a McDonald's. And
Not really.
It offered a limited McDonald's menu. Nicely done, Jeremiah. And then in the mornings it would have character.
I forgot about the character dining that they used to have.
Restaurantosaurus. That was probably one of my favorite.
That's what it was called.
This was different than Burger Invasion, which was a McDonald's. This had McDonald's fries, but Disney World burgers.
And they had Happy Meals.
I was going to say they had the Happy Meals.
That's what a fry cart out in front, right? Pterodactyl fries or something?
Yes.
Petri fries or Petra fries.
Petra, I didn't get that until now. Thank you very much.
We always would call it Petri fries.
I didn't get it.
Remember, Animal Kingdom was at the height of performance theming too. So we were told when we worked there to use things like "Dig You Later" and "Rock On."
Oh, that's awesome!
No
one did.
Yeah, I was gonna say you probably didn't last very long because that's not the kind of thing that tends to.
But inside, you want to show off this guy? Talk about inside.
Oh yeah, so inside Restaurantosaurus, they decorate it with various dinosaurs and artifacts and whatnot. And one of my this is Gideon's favorite place to eat because they have this dinosaur, like this exact dinosaur toy is used as decor in the restaurants, like way up high on the wall. And we were eating there, and he was like, "No way! Look, it's my toy up there." So now, whenever we eat at Animal Kingdom, we eat at Restaurantosaurus. So see, when you're in Restaurantosaurus, look for this guy. He's near the Airstream. I will give you a clue. Near the Airstream, way up high. See if you can find him. There you go. There's your task.
The Restaurantosaurus has like some of the most detailed theming, too, though. Like if you go back, it used to be a fishing lodge that the students turned into like a mess hall that they're inviting you into. There's a lot of cool things there.
It's a fun place to eat, and the seating they have in like the trailer section with that corner table. We always seem to end up there. That's a really fun place to eat.
It has a fun soundtrack too.
Yeah, Dinoland soundtrack is underrated. Dig in, everybody. Dig in.
But it's changed over the years.
But they still have Digging in Dinoland. The soundtrack there, the BGM was one of my favorite things because of all of the really bad dinosaur songs. And it stayed actually from 98 until just a couple of years ago when they changed it to Donald's Dino Bash.
Except during Christmas.
Yes.
Mamacita, donde está Santa Claus?
We like that.
Santa Claus?
I have never heard the actual song, but I've heard Benji sing it about 1,000 times after working.
When we would pick him up from his shifts during the holiday season,
Mamacita.
we would get to enjoy.
I was going to say something.
I'm sorry. Working in the hot sun.
On the floor, everybody. All right.
Was that the first? I remember that CD that came out that actually had Digging in Dinoland as a special track.
Yeah, they put it on the official album.
For sure. Remember that well. So Chester and Hester did have a shop from day one, you guys say, right?
Yep.
And that would be Dinosaur Treasures, Jeremiah.
One second. As I was saying that Restaurantosaurus used to have Happy Meals, this was actually a Happy Meal toy. It was a little squirt gun in the shape of a dinosaur.
And we had so many of those backstage that we would mess around with people with. So.
Now your kids' meals still come in a bucket, a sand bucket, and a shovel. And so after you enjoy your meal, then you can take it on over and dig in the dig pit.
Also, why did grain after each use have quotations around it?
Wow, that's hilarious. Yeah, anyway. Dinosaur Treasure is one of the most fun shops in all of Disney. If you haven't gone in here, go in here, spend some time. Here's what it looks like from the outside. I'll let Jeremiah. Shelly, are you familiar with Dinosaur Treasures? Would you like to say something, make your mom happy?
My mom gave up a long time ago. Story. No, it's a nod. I don't know, like, I'm not as like versed as Jeremiah in the history of all these things, but it is a nod back to all of the little like souvenir shops that you would find on the side of the road. And I really loved how, and it's still the same today, there's so much going on inside the store. So you've got the outside that has that little dinosaur guy right there, and he's made out of like hubcaps and stuff, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
It and was then you go, like a real piece of art that Disney paid for. I can't think of the right word.
Commission?
Thank you.
There it is.
Do you guys remember the car that was parked out there? I didn't grab a picture of it. I totally forgot until this moment. There was this car that had like all sorts of stuff piled up in it.
Oh, that one.
And
the truck, right?
Happy Meal toys even. You could
yeah, it was somebody who just pulled off the road.
Yeah, like they just pulled over on the side. I'd forgotten about it. I should have grabbed a pic.
That was so cool.
It was like it was originally supposed to be a gas station, right? That they converted once they did the thing. And if you look, you can't see it on the picture, but if you look kind of behind where Raptor is over here on the left-hand side, you can find there's a bunch of movie posters, and so it's the one few places at Disney that you can get a reference to Universal. There's a Universal.
Oh, really? Oh, there's a Universal pic. Oh, that's funny.
There is also in rare references in there. They also have. I think I've shown this to Doobie every time we've done a walk and talk through the park, and they go in there. They have comic books along the walls that feature different dinosaurs, including a Batman comic. So it is the only place DC Comics is referenced in Walt Disney World.
Wow. So very interesting.
Go to visit Epcot.
Yes, that's there along there's like a shaving cream type ad thing where
the Burma, yeah. I didn't grab that one. I'm sorry. I had to.
Okay. No worries.
Anything else? Any fun merchandise, Jeremiah? You got any Dinorama pins you need to show? Did you got any more fun stories of attractions that no one likes?
We in attractions we didn't have to wear the buttons, and we didn't have to wear the signs on the back of the shirt that said like "Follow me to buy Dino junk" or whatever it said on the back. So we were very proud that we didn't wear. That's how you could tell that we were not like merchandise cast members, because we didn't have the signs on the back of our shirts. We still had the buttons where the sign would go, but we didn't have the signs.
This photo op is still there, but they stuck a Donald's Dino Bash sticker right on the door of it.
Christmas time is kind of nice there. I don't even know if it still is, to be honest, but I used to like some of the Christmas decor they had there, like this guy. Way back, they had a Christmas show with like some painter guys, which I got a picture of, but I can't find it now. I apologize. But I doubt that's running anymore. And then, but I still really, really like these guys, and I just really wanted to bring them back up for any reason. Look how the little girl looks, too. She's terrified.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
Pull up Jeremiah. Jeremiah won some plush over at the cleverly named.
How could I forget?
games.
We did not mention the
Like,
game.
I thought that's where you're headed first.
I am. We're headed to the game.
Well, I figure that was, but see how he kind of, he's reminiscent of.
Jeremiah, talk about the games of the boardwalk.
They're closed. The games of Dinorama reopened just probably about 2 months ago, and they had the basketball and the ball toss, which I can't think of their names. I'm sure Benji has it in his nightmares. And they did what Disney California Adventure did when they did their remodel. They actually themed the plushes to the area. So the plush in there's the Cementosaurus, there's Mickey and Minnie with Dinoland USA shirts. There's a Triceratops Spin, and then Cementosaurus, Triceratops Spin, and then they have the green guy that became the logo for Donald's Dino Bash, which I can't think of his name.
So there was Whack-A-Pack-A Cephalosaurus, which was like whack-a-mole. Fossil Fueler, which was like the squirt gun game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and there's Aladar. I'm sorry.
Mammoth Marathon, I think, which is the rolling in the balls. Comet Crasher, and Brontoscore, which was the basketball.
Yeah, Brontoscore
had a game until someone hit their foot with the mallet instead of the thing, so they got rid of that.
Laughing at you and this.
After spending about.
Yeah, there was nothing. Again, this is one of those Benji calls going, hey, can you go cover the games of Dinorama reopening? And I love being there. And literally it was me and 2 other sites just standing there, grown adults playing games that are meant for kids.
Very cool.
As a grown adult.
I really want a Triceratops Spin dino, but I can't get to Florida.
Not Primeval Whirl?
No.
So what else? Anything else anybody want to mention? This is where the Christmas guy's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, show that Christmas picture. Those 2.
Okay.
Does anybody but me remember this show?
Hang on.
I'm going to have to drag it again.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember those dinosaurs very well.
I do.
Oh.
And you can show the next one.
And I remember because the Triceratops Spin music would overwhelm them.
But they had this ladder and they would balance and stuff. But my favorite thing is you can kind of see it in the background, but he had like a cube made like a PVC pipe cube, and he would like twirl it and spin it, and then he kind of walk through it and do all kinds of. It was very strange and optically odd to stumble upon as you were wandering Dinoland. It was back in 2007, long time ago.
Yes.
What do we think that they? Well, what's the future of Dinoland? I mean, Theater in the Wild is closed. Obviously, Primeval's been mercifully removed.
I've heard a rumor.
Yeah.
That with the debut on Disney Plus of the dinosaur sitcom, that they're considering a permanent overlay featuring, Not the Mama.
So I just watched the first episode of that, I think for the first time since 1991. That first episode is a little painful to get through.
It's horrible.
I watched 3 minutes and then asked me, why am I watching this? Can you please turn it off?
Do you remember the baby's rap that they used to show all the time?
I've never seen it.
Oh, it was
this is my first time seeing it, so I lasted like 3 minutes. But then I was told I need to try other episodes, so I will.
Yeah,
but Dinoland, what would you do? Like if somebody came to you and said, what would you do with that?
Hold on. Benji's trying to remember the baby.
I remember, wake up from bed, hit my daddy on the head, run around the house when they tell me not to. I take every chance to make a poop in my pants because I'm the baby and you got to.
Okay.
Also, don't if you ever the baby from Dinosaurs and Elmo too close together, you'll never be able to distinguish them.
So after that, make sure you like and subscribe to us to get more content just like that, folks.
I really want that.
Take every chance to make a poop in my pants.
Heard about 110. Let's note that down.
I know. Another Disney fan who I'm friends with on Facebook was commenting that now that they're a parent and their child is picking up the behaviors of the baby, that show's not quite as enjoyable anymore.
No, that show was very Simpsons time.
Yes.
Like, it's in there.
It's just so funny. It's like
Sinclair!
you see it through different Oh, but no, back to the Dino Land, what could happen to it?
I mean, they're gonna at some point they're gonna destroy this and do something completely new, right?
But my hope is that it stays child accessible. Because I really like that about this area, the whole dig zone. I hope I hope it keeps kind of that. And I know that we've lost that almost at all the parks. And I mean, and I get it because things are different, but like, because Magic Kingdom, Toontown Fair changed. I think the little laughing place play area by Splash,
Death Trap.
Away. What?
Death Trap. Who makes a playground with sharp edges and hard things?
Gotta learn your lessons.
Evolution, man.
I mean, the only one.
See, that's a good point, which is why Primeval Whirl is so dumb, because of the over-shoulder restraints. It had a 48-inch height requirement, which was amongst the highest in Disney. And so you're like, it's not like you say, oh, Dinosaur's the thrill ride, and we're going to build something else for the kids to do. No, it was even more thrilling, or at least height requirement wise. And so, I would like them to do something that's accessible to everybody there. I think you got to keep the dig site if you're going to keep Dinosaur. But, I think whatever you do in that plot, it should be something that's accessible, no height requirement or very low height requirement. Because that's something that park is kind of missing. Yes.
And
I've never even been on Primeval Whirl.
My big thing, I hope it involves roller skating guitar players, because that says Dino Land to me.
But I'd like it to be
and this guy,
like adventurous, like kind of Jurassic-y. But I know you can't because that's another company's franchise. But like, there's got to be some franchise that can explore
Ice Age?
that in a way. Well, no, you could go an Indiana Jones spinoff.
Yeah.
No, don't start talking about that. that rumor like really just overran for a few years.
Oh yeah, no,
you could go Ice Age.
It was crazy. Oh, that's true.
They own Ice Age now. Anastasia.
No. Now we're moving into the
Golden Girls.
Rogers and Hammerstein Cinderella.
Golden Girls, the experience. Come, enjoy the lanai.
National Geographic. They could turn this into National Geographic land, actually.
Because that would definitely draw more people in.
I think I would not be surprised if Animal Kingdom as a whole gets a massive rebrand.
To National Geographic?
They'll call it Wild Animal Kingdom.
But not to Zoo.
I hate but accredited by the Association of Citizens.
No, one of the things,
but not the zoo.
Going back to one of the original concepts for Dinoland before Dinosaur and Jeff was the excavator wooden type roller coaster that was supposed to take up that whole area. I would like to see them, get rid of Primeval Whirl, that footprint, and maybe make more of like a smaller excavator type coaster that is more friendly for kids, like just a lap bar, not over the shoulder or anything, that introduces kids to roller coasters.
And the other thing is, you might not realize this, but Dino Land's kind of on a cliff, right? Because it's built up, when you go on Dinosaur, you go downstairs. Well, you don't go below grade in Florida. So it's all built up. It's pretty steep up there. So there's a whole, you could do a complete vertical attraction there if you really wanted to. There's a lot of space.
But now we're moving out of very accessible, right? I mean, what you're
when I say height, I mean, that could be, Runaway Railway has huge height. It just means you could do something big in scope.
I'd like to
thrilling.
I'd like to see something more along the lines of Casey Jr.
Well, I mean,
as far as like speed, I'm talking as far as like just speed, enjoyment, just an outdoor, moderately moving experience. So it's accessible to all.
Well,
that area is, there aren't that many, like, I hate to use like gender things, but like there aren't that many boy areas. And I feel like that's a very good area because it lets the boys like have that time with the dinosaurs and like all of those things. Girls get the princesses and the stories and the blah blah blah. But like I really love the idea of making like a rough and tumble kind of area. I don't necessarily hate like the Chester and Hester thing. I just think there are so many better ways they could do it. But I really just like having that fun element with like a lot of like ways for them to run and go outside. It's a good play.
Shelly, I think you got a good point. I think like it's like a Shanghai Adventure Isle kind of thing would be cool there. Just kind of maybe even blow out the dig site, the boneyard to become a bigger experience would be pretty cool. But let's be honest, it's not going to be built if it's not based on some sort of intellectual property. So we got to figure out what that's going to be.
Anastasia.
But no, do they have access to the Ice Age?
Sure.
Yeah. That to me seems fun. Those are characters that have had many episodes, and are adored.
The one thing about working in Dinoland too, though, is they would train you. Every once in a while, there'd be someone who, for some reason, wanted to make an issue of the fact that you would say that dinosaurs existed 65 million years ago, and coming from California, I didn't know people actually didn't realize that the world is well over 65 million years old, but you would get some in Florida who were not educated enough to realize that. And so we actually had a course that would train you on how to deal with that and like what to respond to guests. It's not so much that they believed it, but they would get upset with you about sharing it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Kitty has an idea. Something goes terribly wrong, which would be unique for a Disney attraction for something to go terribly wrong during it.
That's true. Everything goes as planned all the time.
You realize that he gave you dinosaur, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to be sure that you didn't overlook your son's joke.
My son's funny.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else on Dinoland USA before we wrap this thing up?
Ooh,
it's one of the few places cast members could use guest bathrooms because they were too cheap to build a cast member bathroom.
That's funny.
Do they not have dinosaurs from around the world now? Are there Asian dinosaurs and Aussie dinosaurs?
Most dinosaurs are dinosaurs, but most of the dinosaurs have been found all across the world, but the highest population of dinosaurs have been located in Northern America. Like Tyrannosaurus Rex is a Northern America dinosaur.
But the dinosaurs they found in, say, Australia are different?
Well, it's...
The Paul Hoganosaur?
Just ignore him. Don't even feed it.
But only if you find them in Kingman, Australia.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that, Jeremiah. She's not here today. All right. So let's wrap this up. Thank you guys for tuning in to dig a little deeper. Someone asked that we do It's a Small World. I guarantee you It's a Small World will be done in the future when I'm on vacation. So come.
I worked that right too.
Did you really?
Yeah, Small World.
Oh yeah, I guess you did.
Oh look, Kidder says. Also, speaking of the new Dinosaur show on tomorrow's movie club at LP, I wonder what else is on the agenda.
I love our regulars. Koalasaur, very good, Gio. Yes.
Yes.
All right. Cute. So coming up, this is it for today, right? Yes.
Yep.
This is it for today. But coming up tomorrow, at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. We have Marvel Monday featuring WandaVision Episode 6 with Mac and Becca. We are doing Disney Parks Talk Live tomorrow at 4. It is a holiday, but we are working for you. And then coming up at 7:30 p.m. is LP Movie Club featuring dinosaurs, as Kidder hinted at there. Not the mama, that one, not the one with Aladar. Yes, Benji.
Can I ask a question about Parks Talk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you going to do a tribute to Ken Potrock and Jeff Ollie?
What happened to them?
It's President's Day.
And then on Tuesday morning, Jeremiah will be at the Magic Kingdom, and Mike will be at Downtown Disney. So hopefully I will play a part in one or both of those. And then Barely Necessities featuring the two Rebeccas. Yay! This is my favorite of them. I like them both a lot, but this one's my favorite. So
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Be sure to ring the bell, subscribe however you're watching us. I'd like to thank my honey here, Rebecca, for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
I would like to thank On the Go at MCO down there, Shelley, for being here. I would like to thank Polk County Jeremiah for being here. I would like to thank the CEO for being here.
And for sharing the contents of your cabinet with us. We greatly appreciate it.
I'd like to thank Nisha.
We will leave that there.
Yes, we would like to as well.
And most of all, I would like to thank myself for being here today. Thank you, everyone. Talk to you later.
Bye.